What is going on, everybody? We are back for another round of our No Frills construction updates for Halloween Horror Nights over here at Universal Studios Orlando. Today is Friday, July 18th. I was actually over here on Tuesday as well getting some footage, but it's been a lot of updates, so we're gonna kind of combine the footage into one video here today. We're gonna go ahead, we're not gonna waste any time, get started over here. Pretty confident this is gonna be the last time that we're looking over here at this construction that they are doing for Rip Ride Rockit next to Hard Rock Cafe. We have been blessed with new aerial photos from BioReconstruct, and I'm feeling very confident that this is not gonna get anywhere near that queue for Soundstage 23 over here. So we'll have to wait and see to be sure, but feeling pretty confident about that at this point. Up here at the front of the park in Production Central, we don't have any construction updates to go over, but what they have given us this week is all of these Scare Zone announcements. And first up is what is, I believe, going to be the Scare Zone up here, which is the Origins of Horror Scare Zone. So pretty excited to see what this is all about. Usually just a kind of conglomerate of all the other houses and Scare Zones, little monsters and stuff from each one will be up in the Scare Zone. So yep, pretty excited to see what they come up with for this one. Back here in the New York section of the park, nothing really new to go over back here, though we do have the Scare Zone announcement. Feeling very confident that this is going to be the Mutations Toxic 20 Scare Zone. Pretty excited about this one. Probably most anticipated for me out of the ones they've announced this week. Really excited to see what they do with this one in this area. I think this one, I'm pretty confident this one is going to be pretty awesome. We did get some new aerial footage of this lot back here behind the firehouse in this New York section of the park. It's looking pretty rough. This one is pretty significant for the queues that run back here. There are 3 house queues that run through this area, and they haven't really done much work. So it's gonna be really interesting to see what they do. I don't think this will be done in time for Horror Nights, so they're gonna really have to reorganize the queues that run for these houses back here. And in somewhat relation to the construction going on over there by the firehouse is the Tribute Store, which is usually over in that area. And something that we have noticed is that the arcade over here by the bathrooms is now closed and blocked off. My buddy Kevin caught the merchandising crew walking in there, so it's pretty heavily rumored, almost near confirmed at this point, that the Tribute Store is going to be moved over here into the arcade. So very interesting. It's a very small space there compared to the classic space over here in New York, so it's going to be very interesting to see what they do with that space for the Tribute Store this year. And that is pretty much it for the New York section of the park. They did add one small tiny box over there by the old Tribute Store location, but somebody was sitting on it, so I didn't want to tape it, and it's pretty minor. We'll catch you next week. We've got some pretty substantial updates back here in the San Francisco area. First off, we've got this fenced off area by the exit for Fast and the Furious. Nothing inside it yet, but I'm sure we'll see some set pieces or props show up here soon. Next up, they've added a ton of lights to the truss work here in the center. All sorts of spotlights and gobos and strip lights, bar lights, whatever you want to call them. Tons of lights here, which kind of leads into the announcement for this area. They've got these brave all new street experiences, and back here is going to be the Club Horror experience. Don't know how I feel about this. Have to wait and see what happens. Could be cool, could bomb. We'll have to wait and see. And finally, for this area, they've also added this stage over here by the lagoon side of this section of the park. So probably where the DJ is going to be for this Club Horror street experience that they've announced for this area. Back here on the Nightmare Fuel stage, it looks like they have added a few pieces of lighting. This little rigging up here with the lights attached to it. And it also looks like they're testing some of the lights as well. So anxious to see what they're going to do this year. I'm pretty sure it's going to be another Nightmare Fuel. Really wish it wasn't. Wish they'd do something different, but we'll see how it goes. Back here behind the Simpsons, we've got some pretty big updates to go over. We'll start off with Sprung Tint 2. We do have some new aerial photos from BioReconstruct showing off the front of the facade there. Looking pretty cool. And then on the back side, we can see they've started adding the siding to the house. You've got this texture of these shingle looking designs on the side there. It looks like they've also added some kind of railing across the top and started to paint the back of it black to have it blend in. But yeah, really shaping up on that facade. And then over for Sprung Tint 1, they have started putting together facade for that one. Got just a plywood structure. It does have kind of a house aesthetic to it. It looks kind of like a shed or small house. So maybe this is the dollhouse over here in Sprung Tint 1. Have to wait and see. I'm sure we'll, as we get some theming and move along here through the next couple weeks, we'll get a better idea of which one is going to be which. We have some pretty substantial updates over here in the Central Park Scare Zone area of the park. First off, in this courtyard area at the end in front of the animal actor stage, they've put up 3 giant trusses, wrapped them in scrim, threw a ton of lights up here at the top of them. Definitely happy that they've extended this scare zone out into this courtyard area. It was kind of a small scare zone before, so with this extra area, really helps fill it out and helps with the theming, gets you in the vibe of the scare zone. They've also set up this big piece of truss work with a platform in the middle. It's going to be basically a stage, and we'll talk about the Scare Zone announcement that's going to be over here. It is the Cat Lady of Crooked Lane, and if you look into the artwork here they provided, it's got kind of this winding trail with a house at the end of it there, and I believe that they're going to cover all of this truss work with some theming and facade work to make it look like that house in the artwork. Should be pretty awesome. I'm really excited to see this Scare Zone. Besides the one in New York, this is probably my most anticipated scare zone. I really love this area and this section of the park when they put a scare zone in here. It's usually pretty good. Making your way through the Central Park Scare Zone over here on the side of the NBC Preview Center. They've added a few pads over here. On this one side, right next to the building, we've got a big green pad. And then across from that, in that little spot we were looking at previously, that was kind of flagged off. They've added another pad over here across the way as well. And over here on the lagoon side of the pathway through the Central Park area, they've set up a few of these stages. There's 3 stages. I think they're more like platforms. You can see a circle of bolts sticking up through them. So there's going to be something that's bolted down through those. So it'd be interesting to see what they put on there. Probably just some trusses for some lights or effects or something. And they've also shoved some speakers back in here as well. I think we have 4 speakers that they've thrown into the bushes and all this shrubbery back here. We've got a couple of basic updates for Battery Park over here. They've added some lights to this entrance truss work that they have over here that leads into this area. And they've also added these upright trusses and these stands for some TVs to go inside of them to display probably a menu, maybe some event offerings like the shows or where the houses are at. On this piece of truss work that's kind of behind the bar that's usually here, they've added some lights to the top of this piece of truss work here. And then on this giant piece of truss work out here by Transformers, they've added some lights to the top of this as well. And over here underneath this structure where the bar usually is in this Battery Park area, they've added some mood lighting, some themed lighting to light up this bar that's usually here. Making our way into Hollywood Boulevard, we have these 2 giant pieces of truss work here with the lights on top, and nobody really knew what they were about, but with these new street experiences they've announced, they have said that this is going to be the Mel's Die-In Zombies area. So that should be pretty cool. A bunch of car-hopping zombies roaming around in this area. I'm really excited for this new street experience they've got coming here. It should be pretty awesome, I think. And wrapping up, making our way down Hollywood Boulevard here. Nothing new going on. They did add this big piece of truss work over here in front of the dark room, but otherwise we do have the Scare Zone announcement, and over here it's going to be Masquerade, Dance with Death. I really like the artwork for this one. They've got those kind of fang looking things there on the end of the lettering. Overall, I really like the artwork they've released for the Scare Zones this year so far. It's pretty cool stuff, but yeah, otherwise nothing new going on over here in Hollywood. And that is going to do it for this week's construction updates for Halloween Horror Nights over here in Orlando. Really starting to shape up here. With all of these scare zones finally announced, I think we're going to start to see some serious movement when it comes to theming and props. So really excited to come back next week and see what they add in here, see what's going on. Really excited for the season this year. It's really shaping up. I think it's going to be an awesome one. If you have stuck around this long, as always, I greatly appreciate your time, and we'll see you next week.